Hey, this is Diamond Williamson, your host of the Creative Women Wanted podcast, a safe space for those of us who are creative women and who love television to talk about the business and art of television, books, and spirituality. And when I say television, I'm talking about documentaries, I'm talking about digital shows, I'm talking about series that live on Netflix, Hulu, all of that. So again, whether you're a woman who's in entertainment like TV or digital video, or you want to work in the industry, or you just enjoy television as much as I do, this is for you. I'm Diamond Williamson, the CEO of Third and Wonder Production House, where we specialize in telling Black women's stories and creating content and TV for Black women, specifically in unscripted, branded, and docu formats. And this episode is all about my story, right? Like, how did I get started? How did I get here, right? Like, what led me to even starting this podcast? And why do I love television so much? I like to start with 10 years ago. 10 years ago, well, even before that, let's just say maybe I was in college, 2010, and I remember reading a magazine or reading 17 magazine and just really being obsessed with the editorials, with the ads and with the beauty of the ads. And I was like, I want to take pictures. So I started by taking pictures of my friends. We would go to Little Five Points. I would take their pictures. We would be in like River Place Apartments in Carrollton, Georgia. I would take their pictures. We would go to different events. I would be taking their pictures. Like, I was a photographer. And that led me to going to different events and meeting up with bloggers. And eventually I started to work with a well-known blogger at the time who is now, beyond well-known at this point, Mattie James. And I also was working with Patrice Washington. So I was taking Maddie's photos, and then eventually she wanted to get into video. And so we were using a very basic camera, but I was so excited to direct her YouTube videos. Like, I remember she had this video about maybe 20 things, 15 things about her. I don't know, but I was like, let's make it black and white. Let's shoot it like this. Like in 2012, I was directing videos, and with Patrice, I was using iPads to create her content. I was doing it and I really loved it. And from there, I started to create my own YouTube videos. And if you look on my channel right now, you will see my very first YouTube video, which is who is Diamond Williamson, I think. And I'm just so frail, so nervous, but so courageous, really, because it really helped me to build confidence just doing those videos. And I would do videos about The Best Man and the Backstreet Boys and Kevin Hart and, just all these things that I loved, about the books that I was reading, about Beyonce's biggest fan, and it's just crazy. But that's how I really got started with creating creative content and directing videos. I didn't have any camera experience. I just had my camera, a dining table. Sometimes I would put wallpaper up in the back of my picture, because I'm like, I need a cute little background. And after doing YouTube videos for a while, I started to get, I was getting serious about it, and I was still working with Mattie, and we had went to one of her blogger events, and I was taking her pictures, and I met this woman named Tiffany Mills there. I don't know if Tiffany knows that we met there, but that's where we met. And I stayed in touch with her. And one day I had gotten fired from my job, and I hit up Tiffany. I'm like, Tiffany, I want to get serious about television. I have to get serious about working in television. And this was in 2014. And then a few weeks later, a friend of hers was working at Chrisley Knows Best season 2, and they reached out to me. And that is where I became a field assistant, and I was taking notes for the editors. I was so excited to learn everything there was about television. I was in this big Chrisley house. I was with all of these people. I had my walkie-talkie. It was so fun. And I'm an extrovert, so I loved working with all those people every day. It was so great. I even met my best friend's now husband, who is now the father of my godchildren. I even met him working on Chrisley Knows Best, and it was amazing. But I got out of television, and I started working with Patrice Washington, who is just a really brilliant woman. She has her own podcast, the Redefining Wealth podcast, which I love. And while I was working with her, we were actually pitching shows to television networks. I remember going with her to Discovery when we were in LA at some point. And she was pitching different shows. But after working with her, we both realized that it wasn't the best place for me. I really needed to be back in television. And so right after I was let go, I was referred to this pilot that was filming at OWN, which I didn't know it was at OWN at first, but I started to work on this pilot that was filming at OWN. It was for I don't know if y'all remember from Iyanla Fix My Life, the guy who had like 32 or 26 children. He had an insane amount of children. Anyway, there was talks of him getting a spinoff. So I worked on the pilot and it didn't last. Unfortunately, Oprah canceled the pilot. But I knew that, I was back in television and I was going to be there to stay. So the following week, after that, and all the while, by the way, like the spiritual part of this is that, I was just following my heart. I did have an eating disorder at the time of all of these things. So I was dealing with my stress, in a very unhealthy way, but I knew that I needed to be in television. And so I kept going. The week after the pilot ended, I ended up meeting the Carlos King on one of his shows for WeTV, and I was only day playing. I was there for 4 days, and on the fourth day, I asked Carlos if he needed an assistant, and I became his assistant. And within 2 months of being his assistant, he was like, "We got to be in LA." And that was crazy because I knew that I wanted to be in LA. I was like couch hopping. I didn't sign a new lease because I knew I wanted to move to LA. So I made room for that. And I met Carlos. And 2 months later, I was literally at 26. I was in California working with Carlos on one of his shows. That didn't work out. And then I ended up working on Iyanla Fix My Life. And in between that, I had met me and Sydney reconnected and we were together. And we're together to this day. So in 2015, after working on Iyanla Fix My Life, I realized, I really want to create television shows that are really healing for Black women, right? And God was like, not a television show, but I'm going to give you an idea for a network. It was crazy. And that's when Blossom came about. Blossom at the time was a video on demand platform for women of color to find and watch content based on their mood and their interest. We had shows talking about motherhood, a show called Melanin Mamas. It was great because I had this space, this home to bring all of my ideas to life and to bring the ideas of other Black women to one platform. We had this show about spirituality called The Keys to Miracle by Brittany Jack. She was our host. I had my own talk show, which I had always wanted. We had a show called Girl Chat where Black women were talking about sports. It was amazing. And we were super focused on making sure that Black women saw themselves in other areas, right, outside of what they were seeing on television at the time. And we really wanted to serve as a mirror, right? Because on Melanin Mamas, it was two mothers. One was divorced. She was a single mother. She had one child, and one was married with two children. But, one of the children was older and had a different dad that she had to deal with. So she was co-parenting. And it was really beautiful because they, talked about their different experiences as mothers. And I think their experiences covered a lot of, what motherhood was or is. And so we loved that. And so I led that for 3 years. We had hundreds of paying subscribers. We were featured in Forbes, featured in Delta Sky magazine. We premiered shows at South by Southwest. Now that's lit. When I think about it, they're really lit, okay? We really did our thing with Blossom. And I think more than anything, it taught me that I have to trust my ideas. Because we were ahead of the game. We were in uncharted territories. This was before BET Plus. This was before BET Heard. This was before a lot. This was before Peacock, right? This is before before Disney Plus. This is before so many platforms had their own subscription service. But since I've left, I've really had no regrets. It was hard at the time, but I'm right where I'm supposed to be. So the thing is, though, during my time at Blossom, I wasn't healthy. I had a deep-seated, serious eating disorder, bulimia to be specific. And I was working hard, but I wasn't healthy. And within my last year with the company, I started to go to therapy. And that's what changed everything for me. I'm definitely a therapy advocate because it changed my life. It helped me understand that what I want is okay. And it helped me even understand what I wanted. Because I think I lived a lot of my life with what I should want or what I should do. And therapy helped to validate my own opinions, right? And through therapy, I realized I didn't want to be in the Blossom world anymore. I didn't want to run a subscription service. I wanted to focus on myself and what I wanted, not what everyone else wanted from me. And I know that, I remember telling some people I'm about to leave Blossom, and they're like, "What? You've built it so much, you've done so much work with it. I don't think you should leave." I left. I still left in 2018 so that I could focus on what I wanted to do in the TV production space. And that was just to make things. I just wanted to make things. I did not want to figure out how to make sure that people were subscribing and paying for it. I wanted people to make things. And since I left Blossom, it really provided me an opportunity to work on so many things. I work with brands like XO Nicole, of course, the Oprah Winfrey Network. I worked with them 2 more times. I got to run 2190 for a second. I've worked with Essence, which was exciting. And I've worked with Ulta in conjunction with Essence. I've also created my own television series for Black women. And I've produced hundreds of short form videos for clients in tech, economic development, entertainment, and more. That's my thing. I even created the show last year, Biz Bestie Showdown, which is a competition show for Black women entrepreneurs. And it was great. It was brilliant. I'd have to say so myself. And today, almost 4 years later from leaving Blossom, or over 4 years later from leaving Blossom, my biggest focuses include creating television and streaming series that feature Black women for brands like Netflix and Hulu and HBO Max and things like that. That's where I'm at now, right? And of course, doing this podcast, I'm really just focused on living a life that I want, and I think that's easy to say, but sometimes, and I wasn't able to identify this until recently, but there's this voice that tells me that even what I want sometimes is silly, or what I want is not enough, or what I want is like, girl, bye. So I'm learning to lean into more of what I want. And this podcast is definitely what I want, because I get to build community around something that I love so much. In the past few years, I've also I would stray away from television. Like I would go, help someone do this, or focus on teaching entrepreneurs how to build a business, when I just want to do this. And that's because I was really focused on making money at the time, and now I'm not, and I'm focused on doing what I want, because I know that sometimes when we focus on making money so much, we tend to veer off into different paths instead of just focusing on doing what we want and trusting that the money will come. And so that's kind of how I got here. And what the future looks like, I don't know. I know what I hope for the future. I hope and know and believe that I'll sell a television show very soon. You're going to see my name created by Diamond Williamson on HBO Max or the Oprah Winfrey Network. I already know. But also that I will keep doing this podcast, and that I will get to create a really beautiful Black and brown community in television, doing what I love, talking about things that I love, laughing and kikiing on a yacht, talking to Black women about what is going on the Real Housewives of Potomac, okay? I love it, and I'm really, really excited. So if you like this podcast, please go ahead and subscribe, share it with your friends, give it 5 stars and leave a comment, right? Because my hope is really, again, to grow and to keep having these conversations. So go ahead and listen to the next podcast to learn more about what my favorite shows are and what shows I do not like. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.